We get lots of feedback here on Muscle Car of the Week, and many times people ask me, hey, what's your favorite car? You know, if you could have anything from the Brothers collection, what would be the car? And I think that it's an interesting question. Of course, we all have our favorites. But today, I think I have different favorites for different applications. So we came up with an idea to isolate maybe 3 favorite cars for 3 different purposes. And we're calling this our SST episode. So the cars we're talking about today is going to be a selection for a car driven on the street, driven on the drag strip, or driven on the road course track. So follow along as I kind of go through my 3 favorites, and at the end we're going to throw it out to the viewers and you can leave a comment of what your 3 favorite cars from the Brothers collection to be SST cars. And on a later episode of Muscle Car of the Week, we're going to read through those comments and show some of those SST car picks from viewers. And the people that we choose, well, they're going to get a shiny new Brothers collection hat. Okay, the first category is the street category, and this is a car that you would drive every day. If you could have anything from the Brothers collection to be a daily driver, what would you choose? And many people know that I like the Buick GSX. I think at first that might have been my first choice. It's big, it's comfortable. The one they have is in tremendous condition. I've driven the car, it's very comfortable. 360 horsepower, 510 pound-feet of torque. I mean, it's comfortable enough to drive every day. It's quiet, so that would be a good street driver. But I thought, if you're gonna drive this every single day, maybe something like the supercharged Avanti. That's a cool car. It's got great styling. It's got a supercharged V8 under the hood, lots of creature comforts. It's definitely a head turner. And then I thought, I do like convertibles, so maybe the best street driver would be that 1971 Pontiac GTO Judge convertible. And what I really like about that car is, yeah, it's a convertible, but it's unrestored. It's a low mileage car, so it drives almost as it was when it was new. It's very, very tight, very comfortable, a lot of comfort options. It's got a nice stereo in it, power top. It's white, so you can sit in it without getting sunburned on the hot seats. And I thought if you're gonna do a Pontiac convertible, maybe do something ultra high fashion and drive that 57 Bonneville convertible around with the factory supercharged V8 under the hood. You know, a car they only made a few hundred of, with a handful of them still existing. But then I'd probably be worried about somebody dinging the trim or whatever, because those cars are hard to find. So what I ended up with is a little bit off the scale, the 1969 Dodge Charger with the factory 426 Hemi. And this car is all black. It's got the Hemi with an automatic, so you can drive it in traffic without worrying about shifting all the time. It's got some interesting interior appointments. This one has bucket seats, but no console. It's an automatic car with a column shift, and it's a power window car. So you could get in this and drive it comfortably, long distances, very quickly. And with a giant laser straight gloss black Charger, everywhere you show up, you're gonna make a statement. So the 69 Dodge Charger 426 Hemi mentioned in episode number 90 of Muscle Car of the Week would be my choice as a daily driver. For now, anyway. Next, we're gonna move on to the drag strip car of choice in our SST collection. And my first thought was there's a bunch of cool drag cars in the Brothers collection. These are purpose-built race cars. Back in episode number 82, we interviewed Stan Antloser, and he was the driver of the world's fastest Pontiac Tempest. This was a very cool car, a lightweight 62 Pontiac Tempest, powered by a 421 cubic inch V8, beautifully tuned, all figured out, record setter. Again, the world's fastest Tempest at one point. And that'd be a car you could jump in and go nostalgia drag racing in today and not have a single problem. But then I thought something a little more modern, like the 2011 Mickey Camaro. And this thing has got all the technology you can imagine. It's got a supercharged V8, it's all aluminum. This thing made over 1,000 horsepower on race fuel with the proper tune-up in it. It's got a full race suspension, giant sticky tires on forged line wheels, full roll cage. This thing's ready to rock, and you could actually go compete with that car if you wanted to. But then I thought maybe an all-stock icon muscle car like a 1970 Chevelle SS 454 with the LS6. we featured a beautiful one in episode number 182, and that car is possibly the last LS6 454 SS Chevelle built based on the data provided on the trim tag and the VIN sequencing. I'm not saying it is, but I am saying that it would be a lot of fun to wheel that Muncie 4-speed down the drag strip and even keep nostalgia tires on it and see if you could beat the times that the magazines got back in 1970. But at the end of the day, I think drag racing is just as much a show for the fans as it is to drive the car. So the car I'm choosing is the 1969 Hurst Rambler Scrambler. And to me, this is as close to a factory-built exhibition car that was ever made. This is a very lightweight, bare bones, stripped down, gutted, kind of economy car platform stuffed with a big 390 V8 and a 4-speed in it. And it ended up running, you know, 1430s, 1420s off the showroom floor. You can put better tires on it, mess with the clutch, give it a tune-up, and be in the 12-second range if you wanted to. But there's a big show on the outside. It's all painted in red, white, and blue. It's got big stripes. It's a crowd pleaser everywhere it goes. So it really has that feel of a person who would buy a car and gut it and paint it up and go racing, but it was done from the factory like that. I think it's cool, and you can see that in episode number 71 of Muscle Car of the Week. So for the final category in our SST collection is the track car, and there are a lot of cool track cars in the Brothers collection. My first thought on a road racing car is the 1965 Shelby GT350R that was campaigned by Tommy Hamilton. And this is a real race car. This is one of the winningest race cars of all in its class from the 60s up through the 70s. It's a very documented, highly prized car. But what I like about it is it's a champion. It is already figured out, and what I mean by that is the engine tune, the suspension tune, the car is dialed in and ready to rock. And Tommy Hamilton won many, many races with this car over the years. It's a prized piece in the Brothers collection. But they do have some other cool Mustang race cars, like the 1970 Boss 302 car that we featured in episode number 173. And this car is a current race car. This one is still ready to go today, and it was developed originally as the over-the-counter parts program for those people who bought a Mustang of their own and wanted to turn it into a race car. So the people at Ford Racing used this car to test performance parts that you could buy back at your local Ford dealer. And since then, it's been raced in nostalgia racing series all over the world up until very recently. So it's another one that you could jump in and race today. But just like on the drag racing side, I thought it would be kind of fun to take a car that was pretty much stock and run it on a road course like a 1968 Chevrolet Camaro Z28. And there's a very sweet yellow one in the Brothers collection, and it'd be fun to take that car out and see how it did as Chevrolet intended back in 1968. It's got a high revving 302, it's got disc brakes, got a high performance suspension, great 4-speed in it, and you could certainly modify that car to perform better. But to me, putting yourself in the chair is kind of like being in a time machine back in 1968 in a car like that, and that would be a lot of fun. But ultimately, my choice for the coolest track car that I would love to race on a road course is from episode number 200, and it is the 1969 Torino that was the Bobby Unser Pikes Peak Champion hill climb car. And this thing is over the top. It's got all the right names attached to it between Bill Strop and Holman and Moody. It's got a smoky Unique-built 429 Boss motor under the hood, and it was driven by Bobby Unser. And we had a great time interviewing Bobby at the Muscle Car and Corvette Nationals. Episode 200 shows that whole story, and the car is unbelievable. Again, it's red, white, and blue. Maybe I'm drawn to that. But there are cool racing suspension innovations on that car that we still see today, and it's got a lot of history, and it would be a lot of fun to run. So those are some of my favorite street, strip, and track cars for now. They might change. But now we invite you to participate as a viewer. Go to our Muscle Car of the Week website, click the All Episodes tab and pick your favorite street, strip, and drag car. And in the comments, tell us why you chose those 3 cars. And we're going to be reading all those comments, and we're going to do a special episode, possibly featuring the cars that you chose, telling your story. And if we pick yours, we'll even send you a Brothers Collection hat. We have a few to give away. So go back through the selections, pick your favorites. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe, and we look forward to hearing what you come up with for a future episode of Muscle Car of the Week.